Hey, so tonight Jordan and I are having a spaghetti night, and so for this week's recipe, I really want to try making my own homemade Bosco sticks, which if you don't know what those are, they are breadsticks that are filled with cheese. They are absolutely delicious, and so I want to see how hard they are to make. So we need to start first by activating our yeast. So I have 1 cup and 1 tablespoon of warm water. I'm gonna mix 2 tablespoons of white sugar into it. Okay, I'm gonna need scissors for this bad boy, but I have 1 package here of active dry yeast. So let me grab scissors, I'll be right back. So I'm gonna pour this in and give it a little stir, and then we just need to let the yeast sit for maybe 5 minutes until it starts to get kind of frothy. That means your yeast is activated, and that's what's gonna make our breadsticks get poofed up. I'm sure to some people yeast is probably not a great smell, but it just reminds me of homemade bread and it makes me really happy. While I'm waiting for the yeast to activate, I'm going to melt down 2 tablespoons of butter. This is really cool. I'm watching it activate right now. Now that the yeast is activated, we can start stirring in our other ingredients. So that 2 tablespoons of butter that we melted, I'm gonna pour that in. Make sure that it's not scalding hot because you don't want to kill your yeast. And now we're gonna start adding in our flour. So I'm gonna start with 1 cup. And before I mix the rest in, I'm now gonna add a 1/2 tablespoon of salt. Now we'll add our 2nd cup of flour. And at this point, it's gonna start turning really doughy. And now I'm going to add my 3rd and final cup, and at this point we're gonna start kneading it all with your hands. Make sure if you're wearing any rings that you take them off because you don't wanna ruin them. It's gonna be really sticky, it's gonna be really messy, but just keep working it until all of the flour is worked in. Eventually you're gonna get to the point where the dough starts picking up all the flour along the side of the bowl. And in the end, you should end up with a relatively clean bowl, and your dough should be slightly tacky but not super sticky. And there's my lump. And now comes not the hard part, but just the very time-consuming part, because we have to let the yeast do its work. So I'm gonna cover this with a towel and let it sit for probably an hour and a half so that the dough can rise, and you want it to at least double in size. So go read a book, catch up on your favorite TV show, catch up on some work, and I will see you guys in an hour and a half. My breadstick dough rose quite nicely, so now I'm gonna divide it up into the breadsticks. And this should be enough dough to make 6 to 8 breadsticks. I'm gonna try and make 6 work because that's all I have left for my cheese sticks. But if I have too much dough, I may end up just making some plain ones. So I have my baking sheet here lined with aluminum foil. I'm going to cut this into 6, roll it around my cheese sticks, and then we're gonna leave it on the pan so the breadsticks can rise again, which could take another hour. So I'm just gonna divide this up and get started. And I think to save myself some hassle, I'm just gonna pull all of the string cheese out of their packaging. So I'm gonna push the cheese stick into the dough and kind of wrap it all around. And roll it out, make sure it's all even. Make sure that the seams are closed up so they don't crack open while they're baking. And there is the first breadstick. Here are all 6 of my beautiful breadsticks. I'm gonna let them sit and poof up just a little bit more. Probably not too much because these are pretty good sized. I mean, I want them to be fluffy, but I feel like I don't want them to be like super inflated, you know what I mean? So I'm gonna let them do their thing and then I will be back. It got really dark in the time I was away and I don't know how to emotionally handle it. The breadsticks puffed up quite a bit. My oven's now preheated to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm gonna stick these guys in for 10 to 12 minutes until they're like a golden brown, and we'll go from there. While I'm waiting for the breadsticks, I'm going to finish the butter topping. So I have 2 tablespoons of butter here that I'm gonna melt in the microwave. And into the butter, I'm going to be mixing a little bit of garlic powder. I'm wearing leggings today, so like anytime I move, I have to tuck my phone under my armpit, in case you were wondering. And then I'm gonna mix in a little bit of parsley flakes. And I'll mix that up really, really well. Wow, these poofed up a lot bigger than I was expecting. That's what I was worried about with the seams. I didn't seal them up very well, so they did split open. So the cheese is kind of oozing out of it. Be careful if you end up making these so you don't make the same mistake I do. But while these are still hot, I'm going to brush on that butter mixture that we made earlier. And the last thing I'm going to do while these are still fresh out of the oven is I'm going to sprinkle some grated Parmesan on top. I think I'm gonna grab this one over here because it looks like that's the biggest mess. It's split quite a bit. Oh man, that is so good. All right guys, and that is all I have to share with you today. I really hope you enjoyed today's recipe. I really hope you try it. It may seem intimidating, but it really isn't that bad. And it is so worth it. Oh my God, it is so good. Of course, if you enjoyed, please leave me a thumbs up. I love seeing those. They make me feel like I'm doing a good job. If you're new here and you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel so you can continue to see all of the wonderful content that I put out for you guys. And that being said, guys, I will see you in the next video. Bye.